Hello viewers, in this video I'm going to demonstrate how to build a cell phone case in FreeCAD by breaking down to manageable modeling steps. So you start with the simplest 2D sketch and then expand it to 3D by sweeping. Then you can cut, slice and mold the ancillary features. Array in draft workbench used to create the phone case pattern. Also, this shows how to manage a model tree as you keep adding features. Since this is a fairly long video, timeline is added so you could skip to the part you want to watch. Hopefully this is useful to you guys. So let's start with a new model. So as for most of our models we start with a sketch. So I'm going to start with a sketch in XY plane. So in this case what I'm going to do is first create the side wall of the cell phone case. So in order to do that I'm going to start with the circle or a curve with 3 points. So I'm going to put it down to the X plane as the center and then give it like a yeah, that should be fine. And then I'm going to use this symmetric constraint and make it symmetric about the x-axis. Let's give it a dimension as well. So it's too big. We'll make it like 0.3 inch. And so I need to constrain this curve on from the y-axis. So let's put this guy, put a dimension, let's put it as 1 inch. Okay, so that essentially okay, and then I need to create a radius too. So let's put this, yeah, this one. It's 2.26. I think it's too big. So let's put it as 0.6. Okay, so that should work. So this line turned green. So that means this single line is constrained fully. Now what I want to create is since this is kind of you have to have some thickness to the wall, I need to create a duplicate of this and offset it to this direction. So I'm going to, the good feature here is you can cut and you can copy and paste. So I'm going to Control C is the copy and Control V is the paste. So now it allows me to place the second curve right here. So now there's a second copy. So the sketch is not constrained, so we need to constrain it. So the thing is, let's put a symmetric constraint around this one too. And yeah, it's symmetric about this, but it doesn't have a height constraint, so I'm going to put a height constraint as well. Yeah, so let's make it the same height, 0.3 inch. Okay, and okay, then let's connect these two with a line. Okay, and then we need to give it a dimension as well. So maybe 0.4. Okay, so that pretty much completes this sketch. So we have to do a number of other sketches to complete this, but we started on a good note here, so let's continue to do that. So let's close this sketch. Now next thing is I want to create a path so that this section can be swept. along a path. Okay, so I'm going to create another sketch. So this time I'm going to pick the XZ plane, and okay, so now what I want to do is create a rectangle. So I'll start with the lines rather than starting with a rectangle, and I'm going to start with here and maybe draw a line, then draw another line, drop it this direction. Now I want to get this as close to the center of this as possible. So now I know the sketch you can't move around, but I can use this tool or this viewfinder to just kind of rotate it around and move these guys a little bit towards the center. Okay, maybe it's not picking it correctly. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm going to make it approximately center and go back to this view. Oh, actually, yeah, it's not the view I want. Okay, back to the front view. Maybe what I do is I'll just drop a dimension here to make sure that doesn't move. So it's 1.58. We'll keep it that. So I can extend it further, and maybe I'll keep drawing a rectangle now. It doesn't has to be, I mean, it'll put the constraint straight, or the vertical and horizontal constraint automatically. By the way, I'm going to create another video on a sketcher, more detail, so that will give more details on how you sketch. So until that, we're going to kind of blow through this one right now, and I'll try to explain as much as I can when I go through this. So this looks decent, and then I want to put some constraint, make sure this is symmetric about the x-axis, also it is symmetric about the z-axis. So for do that, I'm going to use the symmetric constraint again. And so now, yeah, do symmetric constraint here as well. Yeah, let's do that. And now I'm going to put some fillets around this. Okay, some more fillets. All four corners will have some filler. Yeah, this is the kind of the weird part of the FreeCAD. It just kind of, I had a horizontal constraint, but it's still moved, but I can fix that by putting a horizontal constraint again. So then this is get weird, but let's put some more constraint to make. Okay, so this one need a horizontal constraint as well. Okay, so that fix that problem, but my fillets are kind of all weird. They should be same. So what you can do is use equal constraint and keep picking them. Now we want to make it this guy equal to this, so you can do that. And so all my four fillets are now equal, and so we will need some dimensioning now to make sure that we got what we want. So I'm going to pick this guy and pick this guy. Okay, that's too small for a phone case, so let's make it 6.2 inch. Okay, what did I do? Okay, that didn't go well, so let's enter this. Okay, and that maybe that is because you see this fillet became larger, so it's fine, we can fix that. Okay, that's too much. That's too much. Okay, so that's more like it. So that's more like a phone case. Now it's still not fully constrained, and I think we need to put a few more constraints to make sure that it is fully constrained. So let's see what we got. Get the equivalent here. Okay, let's make it. Okay, so that made the sketch fully constrained. Okay, so we can close out. Now I want to sweep this section along this path to build the side wall. So I'm going to pick the section 1, so that's the pick the sketch that will represent the section, and then I'm going to click on the sweep button. Now it already picked that sketch for the object, and then I need to add these edges. So in the transformation mode, I'm going to keep it constant. Okay, so let's keep adding each line. So now what happens is when I click on the line, it's kind of generate that section. Okay, that 3D wall. So I need to add one more, so I keep pressing that edge and then clicking on this. So keep doing that. And this way I completely go all around the path. So now that section is pretty much a closed envelope. That's the side wall of the cell phone. Now one thing to note down, I created these curvatures around these edges, and that's how the cell phone is, right? So you have a you don't have sharp edges, but if you run into situations where you want to have a sharp edge on a path and trying to sweep it across, it won't work. So I'm going to click OK and get out of it, and that will create the wall. So the next step is to create the back face of the cell phone cover. So I'm going to do that in 2 steps. First one, I'm going to create just a surface along the periphery of the wall, and the second section is the entire rest of the back face. So we'll start with another sketch. So I'm going to put the sketch on this surface. So I'm going to first pick the surface. Okay, I'm not picking it correctly. Okay, so I'm going to pick that surface and then click on the sketcher, and now I'm on the sketch now. So here is so we'll have to essentially create a sketch around this. So the tool I'm going to use here is near the what do you call the external geometry linker. Okay, so this is the external geometry linker. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to click on the surface or the edges that I want to pick later on when I create the sketch. So all around it, I'm going to pick all around it. Okay, and now these edges are all linked to the sketch. So what I can do is I can use them as a like a like a edge that I can pick on to create any line or sort of circles or anything. Okay, so I'm going to create the arcs based off of this edge linked elements. Okay, so since already there are points already created, I just need to lock them in. So now we have a sketch arc created. You can't really see it, but it's there. Okay, so then I'm going to do the same here. I mean, when I think about it, it would have been nice if there's a way in FreeCAD actually automatically turn this into a sketch. I don't see that. I look for it. I didn't see that anywhere in the sketch to convert that. So I have to create it manually. I mean, if you guys, anybody knows how to do that, then please let me know. Leave it on the comments section, and that would be helpful to everybody else. So I'm going to create these lines connecting these arcs. Okay, so now we got a sketch. Now if you don't believe we don't have a sketch, we can just need to go here and let's say turn this guy on. And you can see that, okay, there's something I probably didn't create this line, so maybe I need to go and create a line here. So we'll do that. Okay, let's go back and check it. There, we got that. So the sketch is created. So I need to create another second sketch because I'm only creating a periphery of the back face. So in order to do that, I'm going to pick a rectangle. Just start with a rectangle, and then I'm going to, of course, those are sharp edges. I don't want that. I want to fillet this. Okay, got the fillet done. Now I'm going to make them equal in size. I mean the fillets. Okay, so I mean we can position them. Okay, so don't worry about it. So we'll give a dimension to it. Let's say 0.25. Okay, everything got 0.25. Now we also need to give some dimensions, and most probably that will constrain it. So there are a couple of things we can do here to make ourselves easier. So this symmetric constraint become very handy when you're dealing with symmetric objects. Okay, so then you pretty much center it, this rectangle, about these two axes, so that makes things easy. And now what we can do is give some dimensions. The 3-inch, let's see. Okay, and then okay, that's too low. Let's make it 1.5. Okay, so that is good, but I think I want to make it as similar. This gap should be similar here. So let's give maybe 3.2. Okay, so that should be fine. So I think I done with the sketch. It's constrained. So now what we can do is maybe I'll make this active too. So you see, by pressing the space bar, you can make it active or visible or invisible. Okay, so now since I have already picked the sketch, all I have to do is to pad it and it'll give me some kind of a thickness. It's too much. Going to maybe go to like 50 mils. See how that looks. Yeah, that looks good. So we got now it's becoming more like a cell phone cover. Okay, now one thing to keep in mind, even though we created these sections separately, they are just a one single body. Okay, so if I just press the space bar key, the entire thing disappears. So that's one single body. Now what I can also do is I want to put a fillet around here. So I'm going to pick these lines. Since this is a body, I can do that. So I'm going to control and press the control button and start picking, so that it become like a chain. Okay, and then go to fillet. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I don't want that. I'm going to reduce it to 20 mils. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some access slots for the USB type C port and the speaker and the headphone jack. So so in order to do that, I need to create a sketch here. Now as you can see, this is curvature, so I can't pick this surface and try to create a sketch. It won't work. You need a flat face. So I don't have a flat face, so I'm going to take a different approach. I'm going to create a plane, and this plane, when you click on it, it probably put it into the origin on the XY plane. That's not where I want it over here. So you can position it using these plane selecting parameters. So I'm going to pick a line. Now when I pick that line, this is moved to perpendicular to that line, which is obvious because you only option you have is when you have a line is to put it on a perpendicular direction. Now I can pick a second line, so that you need two lines to align a face. Okay, now since I done with it, I'm going to escape. Now pick this datum plane and create the sketch. Okay, so got the sketch, and I'm just clicking on this to show that it's the view mode. You can see it through it. Now I'm going to use the external linker again and pick these points, and you will get to know why I'm doing that now, because I want to pick a center here. So I'm going to put an arbitrary point somewhere here, and then use this symmetric, I didn't pick that one, symmetric button to symmetric constraint to center it. So since this is a rectangle, it's right at the centroid. Okay, so now once I know the centroid, I can position my let's see, this port. Let's see whether that works. Yeah, position. Now it is not right at the center, but there's a way to do that, is to put another point here and then center it again using the symmetric constraint. Now this point is center of this I wouldn't say rectangle, but this object. And now all I have to do is align these 2 points. So let's do the coincident node. Let's see whether that works. Okay, so that's how it is done with the coincident nodes. You can get that correctly. Now of course I need to make it a little bit bigger, maybe a little too tall as well. Maybe we could just give some dimensions to it. Okay, it's fine. And then let's put some dimensions. Okay, that will constrain it. So that is constrained. Now I want to create another object here for the speaker. Let's do this same principle. Okay, so here it's going to do I want to center it right between these 2 points. To do that, we have to take a slightly different approach. I'm going to put like a center line here. Now I purposely created this in a certain angle because I didn't want this to be horizontal. If I put it in the horizontal, what happens is when I try to use the symmetric option, it won't work. So that's why I put it in angle. Now what I can do is just use the symmetric option and pick this line. Okay, I didn't pick that. Okay, what happened? Need to go back. Okay, so what happens is now this point is in this line. It automatically created this constraint. Therefore it is okay, it won't allow it to move freely. So let's try that again, see whether that works. Okay, so now it is right at the kind of a center line, and it's not part of the sketch. Okay, so you don't want to leave it like this, because then when I try to do a slot, it won't work because this is not a part of the sketch. So what I need to do is pick this guy and making it a reference. Okay, now since it is a reference, now it's easier to align this object to this reference. Okay, we'll do the same thing as before. Put another point and then use the symmetric option, the symmetric constraint to, now you have the center of this, or the centroid of this object. Now just align it on to this line. Okay, so I used the line point on a line constraint. Okay, now I can leave it like this. Maybe that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, and I think I'm going to put some dimensions too for this guy as well. I mean, you can, when you create it, you know what the size of the slots you want to create, so you can, I'm not going to spend too much time getting it to exact dimensions, because if you're, for instance, if you're doing a 3D printing a case, you know what the dimensions you want, so you can do that. So one thing is you need to align it to somewhere, so one more constraint is required. So we can put this guy here. Okay, so I think it's probably not constrained because I need to put a radii here too, but I'm not going to spend too much time on it. Maybe it's not required, it probably be constrained already. So let's do the same thing here to put a circle for the headphone jack. Now you guys think you want to have a headphone jack or not? I think I'm going to put one anyway, just in case we need it. Okay, and then just position this here, point on a line, and then you can kind of make it bigger or make it smaller. I'm going to put a dimensions here. Let's put that. So now all you can move it around and position it. I mean, of course you can put it a dimension to constrain it. Yeah. Okay, so now I have those things done, so I'm going to escape this the sketch. Now you can see that these objects are there. Okay, now I'm going to slot this using the slot operation. Now it is I think it is done, because this dimension, all you have to do is to give it, make sure you cut it through. Okay, now of course you can't see it because this sketch is blocking the view, so I'm going to press thing. What happened? Okay, I think I know what happened. Let's go back and fix that. Let's do this. I think I need to put symmetric to the plane. Yeah, so what happens is, since these my sketch was not exactly on this face, it was somewhere in between the bodies of this, between the wall surfaces. It only cut one side and it did not cut the other side. So when I did the symmetry, it cut both sides, and that was the reason. So that fixed that problem. So now I'm going to create the volume rockers and the power button. So I'm going to create on this side, and it's very similar to what we did here. Rather than slotting, we are going to pad that. So let's start with the same approach. Let's do a plane. Okay, so that we picked two lines and that created the plane. Now pick on the plane and pick on the sketcher. You created the sketch. Now so here is a little bit of a dilemma. You don't know what orientation the phone is. What you can do is, actually you can rotate it a little bit and see where you are. So actually you can see how it is oriented, right? So I think the z-axis has to be upward. That way we know what the locations we want to put these buttons are. So let's go back and let's see. Okay, yeah, so that should take care of that. Yeah, because you have the all the slots on the bottom. So yeah, that's right. So let's can do is you can do this one, and I'm going to use the same edge link or external linker. Use the external linker to get these 2 points. Actually, that's not what I wanted, so I'm going to go back. Click on. I want to pick a point here, and pick a point here, and let's put a. This is the more like a center line, and now so now I want to kind of center it. So now I want to pick this guy and make it a construction line. So this is the center. So I can drag it down if I need to. And it will be still constrained within these 2 points. Okay, and it's in the center. Now we do the same thing as what we did here. Earlier we going to put the volume button somewhere here. Okay, let's put that, and then not the volume button, that's the power button, and then volume rockers. Let's do that. Yeah, just arbitrarily draw something and then we can position them. Okay, another one here. So you arbitrarily draw them. Now what you have to do is to position. So similar to what we did previously, we want to have an anchor point. So the anchor point is the center or the centroid of this. Okay, I didn't do that correctly. Let's put an arbitrary point here, and then using symmetry we center it. Okay, so now it's center. We do the same similar thing here. Put an arbitrary point here. Put another arbitrary point here, and now we're going to do the centering. Okay, now next thing is to align it to the center line. So to do that, we put this is the point on an object constraint. So you can pick that, and that will move it here. Now make sure none of these points are on this line and it is already constrained. If it is already constrained, this won't work. So if it is constrained, you have to delete it. So just to word of caution there. Okay, that's fine. We can fix that. Okay. Okay, that didn't work for some reason. Okay, so that's better. So here what happened was this got a little bit old. Okay, so we cut the buttons the way we want it. At least we have some kind of a cartoon right now. So next thing is to give some dimensions and constrain them. So let's see how much want to give some dimensions. So let's increase that a little bit, say 6.65 inch, and then we want to give these guys some dimension as well. So 0.3, 0.42. It doesn't matter, we can position them. Okay, and then we want to give some width as well. Let's see, I'm going to say 0.57. Is that good? Maybe 0.6. And similarly we'll give a dimension here too. Okay, actually it's 0.62, right? So I need to go back and change that. Okay, actually it's 0.6. Okay, and then we give dimension here also. I'm going to make it a little bit thicker, say it's 0.7, because you want to feel the difference between the volume rocker and the power button. Now I'm still hasn't fully constrained it, so I can drag them back and forth. Maybe I can drag them a little bit further down. And you need to maintain enough gap between the volume rockers and the power buttons. I'm going to actually, I'm doing this arbitrary, a kind of a, by looking at the I don't have a specific dimensions because this is not something I plan to 3D print. But if you are doing something, you will know what exactly the dimensions that you are going to position these buttons. So you can put a constraint here. Okay. And I'm going to put a distance, control the distance between the two. So that's 100 mils, 1/10 of an inch. Okay, so we kind of done with the sketch now. We can close it. Now if you don't, it's still there, the sketch is still there. So what we need to do is now pad it. Okay, so it is on the other side, so you can reverse it. And I'm going to give, I think it's too much here. You don't want power buttons to look like that, so make it like 50 mils. Okay, so that looks good. So, and then, of course you can, do some filleting. You can go here, start picking. And when you want to pick the next line, press Control and pick, so you're kind of picking as a chain. And we can do, let's try this and see whether this works. I'm going to do multiple. Okay, I pick the face, so I click on it again, so it reverse it, and then I'm picking all. Now say 0.10 maybe. Let's see if it worked. Okay, it worked. So now I can press space bar to get rid of the or deactivate the datum plane. So you got power button and volume rockers. So next thing is I'm going to create this back face. We only created a portion of it, so and the reason for this is to maintain a separate body for this back face, because I'm going to put do some further operations on that. So I like to keep it a separate body for the remainder of the back face. Now you could, if you want, you can just keep everything in one body, and you can do that, but I want to do it in a slightly different way. So in order to do that, there are a couple of ways of doing, but the approach I'm taking is, if you remember, in previous occasion we created this sketch. We used that to create this this portion of the model. Okay, so and I'm going to use that same sketch to do the remainder of the back face, but in a different way. Okay, so now I could recreate this sketch again on top of it. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just copy this sketch and then use that to extrude that, create the remainder of the back face. Okay, so how do we copy that? We right click, copy, and you get this menu where this sketch is actually how the dependency works. So this is the dependent. These operations are kind of they are like, if you see this, maybe I go back and open this card, you have these operations and then you have this one. So they are somewhat dependent. That's what it says. So when you try to copy it, you can bring everything, or you just need this sketch only. So I don't need all these this additive pipe operation, this sketch, the first sketch and the second sketch. I don't need those. So I'm going to switch off this, and I only have this one now active. So I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to go to body and try to say paste it. Okay, now it put like a link here and copy this. So now you have this is the sketch. Now of course you might remember that that sketch had two I would say rectangles. So let's click on that and see what we got. So yeah, you see this outer rectangle as well. I don't need that, I only need this one. Okay, so I'm going to delete these lines. So you can delete it because they are not connected to the previous sketch, and by deleting this you're not impacting the previous the parent of this the sketch. Okay, so just you can just go and delete it. So I'm going to say press delete. Okay, and unfortunately it has two things. There's a like an edge attached to it, so you have to delete both of them and keep deleting that. Okay, and then I think there's something. Now there's nothing there. Okay, so we got rid of that. Now I close that. So we got a sketch here that is only that inner portion. Okay, now I just need to deactivate this sketch and only activate this. Now if I try, let's try to see whether we can pad this one. See that because this sketch is not attached to a body, it does not allow you to pad it. Okay, because the sketch needs to be attached to a body to pad it. And by like if you might think, okay, this is attached here, but no, it has to be inside here to do that. Okay, so so there's another way to get around that. Is you could go to part and then do the extrusion. Now I can say the thickness, if I remember correctly, it is 50 mils. So I'm going to say 50 and say okay. So now you can see it has created a nice back face. Okay, so now I would like to keep this inside a body. So what I'm going to do is go to part design and create another body, and let's say, and since you have this, you can drag and drop it. I mean, that's the nice feature here. You can drag and drop it, but what it did was it kind of deactivated it maintained the operation, but kind of deactivated the extrude operation visually and copied a base feature inside the body one. So that's how you get around this. You rather than creating a sketch all over again, you can get around that by doing that. Okay, so now I'm going to create the some kind of a pattern on the back face. So to do that, I'm going to just, for this one, I'm going to switch off the body, the first body, and then I'm going to create a second body inside the same part. Now pick on this surface and then create a sketch, so it will be an independent sketch only on this body. Okay, now I'm going to create a pattern with the hexagon, so I'm going to create another hexagon inside it. Let's make it parallel to this guy. Okay, so now it's parallel, and then we'll put a vertical constraint here, so that make it now let's see, I want to put some dimensions to this. Okay, I'm going to leave it like that and put another dimensions here. Okay, maybe I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, 145. I think this is too big. I'm going to make it like 180. Okay, so I think I got what I want. I don't need to fully constrain it. I mean, if you want, you can constrain it, because I'm going to move this guy once I create the pattern, so that's why I'm not going to bother to constrain this. Get out of there. Now this sketch is, I need to select this sketch, and let's see whether the pad works. Okay, so that worked. Now I'm going to go in both directions on this case. I mean, there are multiple options. Okay, you can try it out. I'm going to go both directions, and then it gives me 2 dimensions. So I'm going to go for the first one. I'm going to put 25. So that's 25 mils from the sketch in one direction, and go back, and then there's another 25 mils you can put from the to the other direction. Okay, so okay, that is what I did. Now if I go to V3, I get the line view, and you can see how I created this. So it's partly inside, partly outside. You can have it completely inside, half of it, because I need to cut this one. So, but for illustrative purposes, I have it half in and a half out. Okay, so go back to V5. You get the shaded view. Now I can pick on this, and I'm going to create a pattern. Okay, and to do that, I'm going to go to draft, and in the draft, now make sure you are picking this pad operation, okay, in order to create the draft. Okay, so that's not the one I want to do. I want to go to array, and this is going to be like a simple array. You can see from the icon itself, which kind of show you what that means. It's just a simple array in X, Y, and Z direction. Okay, and now X direction, I want to like 14. Let's say 14. Y, there's only one copy, and Z direction I'm going to put like 29. I mean, I can try it and see what the numbers I'm going to get it, but this thing, let's start with this. And the interval, I don't want this much, so I'm going to put like 210. Okay, I need to go back. Okay, so it created an array only in X direction 14. Now so I need to create the, I had like a fat finger issue there. I pressed it too fast and I got out of the array. So now, since I'm already out, if I try to go back, it probably won't allow me to go back for some reason. So it doesn't allow me to go back, so that's fine. We are going to pick here, and we can change everything, all these parameters here. So I had 29 in Z direction. Now let's do this because what happened is my interval is you see it's very too much. It's like close to 4 inches, and even on Y direction, I don't know whether there is copy created. No, it's fine, but I need to reduce this interval to, let's say, manageable number like 210 mils. Okay, now yeah, so definitely that looks reasonable. Now what I need to do here is, it's outside the where I want this. I want this inside here. Okay, so it's still in the it's correctly aligned with the y-axis, but it's way off. So there are a number of things you could do here. One thing is you could go to this move object in function in the draft, pick on this and pick here. Now you have to be, don't copy it, just relative. Okay, and pick here, and now it can move. Okay, it's a nifty feature here. So I can align it very closely and see whether I can maybe, you know, I think I have too much of elements here, so I might need to reduce it. Okay, but that's fine. What I need to do is to go back to the array and maybe let's see, it's fine on the X direction, but I think I need to reduce it to 28 and then go and recompute it. Okay, and now it's recomputed. Now I need to go back and move it again. So let's click on that and see what I can do this time around. Get it nicely aligned. Think like I got, okay, so this looks reasonable to me. I'm not going to play too much. I mean, you can, you know, you can do whatever you want and get it to the, you know, not nicely aligned, but I think this is good enough. I mean, I could put some dimensions around it and get it perfectly, but let's not bother about that. But now we got the two bodies here. One is the back face, the other one is the array that I created with objects. So now what I need is to just subtract one from the other. Okay, so to do that, I go to part and let's see what we can do here. So I'm going to go to a Boolean operation, go and pick the body one. I think that's what we did, body one here, and then the second one, body one is this guy. Okay, second one is the array. Okay, so we can pick the array here, and I want the difference. So what it does is I reduce from this one, or reduce the this array from the parent body here. Okay, so we could say difference, apply. Okay, so let's go back, and so you can see now there's a section cut out. Okay, that's what I wanted to do there. Okay, so and then I mean, I can switch on this body, and now you got a phone cover with a pattern on the back side, and like that you can, you know, put any pattern you want. And then that's what I wanted to show you guys. So hopefully this is helpful, and please you know, leave some comments and give us thumbs up, and please subscribe. Thank you.